Welcome to Soul Healing with Bree. I am Bree. And this is part 2. We had a first part this morning where I was sitting in the sunshine with the sun at my back and the light codes were coming in really beautifully. That transmission is going to be uploaded in the same container that this transmission will be uploaded, which is welcome back to you as well. In the Divine Union Within February workshop space. What the 3 things that came through when I sat down, because I asked my guides before, I typically do this, I'll sit down and I'll ask my guides, I'll tune in and see, what's going to be relevant for people today, what's going to be able to be received today, what's going to be applicable today, what's kind of present for people today that they can evolve through, grow through, get something out of. And the 3 things that came through were trust, harmony, and unified flow. And those 3 things felt really good to me, but they also felt a little bit, the play piece and the ability to be your authentic self piece, the authentic flow, the almost our inner child aspects. If we don't have that, then things like trust, harmony, and unified flow will feel unreachable to us. Because I said to my guides in my consciousness, I was like, it feels like these things and play and enjoyment and heart connection and that freedom, that energy of you that it's just like unabashed, unrestricted, unlimited, and very just effervescent and alive and lit up. It's like without that part, there can't really be trust because we're kind of shut down. Like we're kind of in fear. There can't be this cohesion, coherence going on. So the first portion is really to get us into our play. And if you're in the replay space right now and you haven't taken in that first video, I would recommend you take in the playing with light first video and then take in this one. And if you're like, wait, Bree, I don't even know what you're talking about. The recording that I did before this is in my workshop space, which is only $44. I think that's quite a good deal for everything that you're going to be getting in the space. But if you enjoy this space and you sit with me today and you feel a little bit more in touch with who you really are, a little bit more in touch with your unified flow and your ability for your masculine and feminine energies to trust one another and hold one another, then this workshop space will definitely be for you. Okay, so 3 decks. I have 3 decks. I was only going to use 1, and then 2 just like fell off my table. The dragons fell off my table first. The dragons are Diana Cooper, Carla Lee Moreau. Also, a few times I have mixed up Diana Cooper's name and Leanne Carpenter's name. I caught that recently when I watched a playback of something I did, and I was like, oops. So, correct edit right here in this moment. Then we have the Lemurian Starchild Oracle. The dragons are going to be kind of like the fiercer messages, or like the more piercing, penetrating messages. The dragons will kind of like break down your walls, okay? So if you have any walls, protective walls, I'll say resistances to your own authentic expression, the dragons will swoop in and be like, you don't need those walls, honey. And then we have the Lemurian Starchild Oracle. The Lemurians come in and they are just very, well, for a lot of you, let's see here. Let me just do a little, if anyone would want me to see your Akashic Records in this session at any point, you can say yes at any point. I work strictly with the respect of free will. So I would only be reading anything from your Akashic Records if that was your free will choice. I just want to be really clear about that. But the Lemurians, a lot of us, our soul had pretty significant incarnations in Lemuria that still sit with us today. In other words, that still affect us today. So that's going to be kind of like the ancient healing. And then, because we had the hilarious appearance yesterday of AI Jesus, still makes me laugh. I brought the Christ Consciousness deck. This has nothing to do with religion. This has nothing to do with Christianity. I want to be very clear for a moment here and just share that my faith is strong in source and in all that is, and the very, very clear fact that we are eternal souls, that is very strong with me. And I also want to be clear that I love Jesus. I love Yeshua. I also know that many of the ways that people are teaching of this individual are way off. So I kind of want to lay that down here because let me explain that. So the reason I'm explaining that is because many of my clients, I've served about 212 clients one-to-one. And a good majority of them have religious programming that comes into our sessions, where things that they learned in churches growing up has kind of I'll say restricted their soul essence. And I'll say taught them things about God that are not true. What I'm referring to here is the belief that God is a man in the sky who is a punisher, who is a judger, who will put cataclysms onto the earth because he doesn't like what earthlings are doing. That whole teaching, or I'll say distortion of Christian teachings and of what Jesus came here to teach, that is something that comes up in my sessions quite prevalently. So that's why I'm laying this blanket down to help alleviate some of that. And let me just get some of these cards out from the Christ Consciousness deck, because I do feel Yeshua in the space. I'm not saying I'm going to sit here and trance channel Yeshua. It's not something I would do, but I do hear from these beings. I hear a lot from Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Yeshua, Kuan Yin, Mahavatar Babaji. Let's see some other of the prominent guides that come through a lot. When I tune into the High Council of Light, they're typically there. So when I tune into the High Council of Light and I'm sitting here and I'm trance channeling with all of you, and if you really want to get into my trance channeling, the workshop spaces are the place to do it. I don't go into deep trance channeling here on TikTok because it just would be not as safe as I would like it to be. But yes, okay, we're only going to do that one. Okay. I forgot my cleansing smokes. Sage and Palo Santo is what I use. I do not actually smoke anything myself. Hold on just a moment. I'm going to grab it. And any of you that are cigarette smokers, if you're looking to quit, this space might assist you with that, because it might assist you with that. I'm not saying it's going to. It would be your free will choice for this to be effective in that area. But anything that you're currently addicted to that is really harmful for your body, once you start tapping into your soul essence, you might find that those cravings for those things that are not good for you start to subside. Because most of the time when we're developing these addictive patterns, it is from, believe it or not, we want to repress ourselves. Okay, I'm just going to plant that little thing in here. And I am not an expert in this area. It's just that's what's coming through me as a channel. So I'm going to do a little clearing of the space before we get started into the cards. We will probably go about 30 minutes today for anyone who's trying to calculate time in your schedule. Hello again, Karina's back. So a lot of you are doing a lot of clearing in your third eyes. Let me see what else I can see here. I'm seeing the chakra systems now, so I'm going to just share some notes on that as I scan. So in today's session, a lot of you are going to be doing clearing in the third eye. In today's session, a lot of you are going to be doing clearing in the sacral chakra. And in today's session, they're showing me the solar plexus. They're showing me that this doesn't apply to all of you, but it will apply to some of you. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But some of you are carrying a solar plexus chakra, which is right under your rib cage at the center. Some of your solar, like they're showing me right now your chakra fields. And what I'm seeing is that some of you, the solar plexus is like a little bit smaller. And I'll even say like more compressed than the rest of the chakras. So if that's true for you, you might find yourself holding back your truth. You might find yourself afraid to embody your soul. You might find yourself, they're showing me like this energy where you might like feel afraid to be seen, heard, witnessed. You might feel, because what they're showing me, if this applies to you, and if I'm talking to you, they're showing me the heart is open and opening, and the sacral is open and opening, but the solar plexus piece is what's missing, okay? So we'll get messages on that as the session unfolds. But let's see, let me just ask my guides. Is that all we need to talk? Okay, no, we're not done talking about the chakras. They're also showing me the root chakra. A lot of you are afraid to anchor your root chakra into the earth. Okay, so go with me here. There's a bit of your root chakra that's like squeamish to the earth. It's like, it's like, it could be the feminine, it could be the masculine, it could be both. But if you sense that, then today we're going to be really helping that root chakra to anchor into the earth, so that, here's why it's so important for your root chakra to be anchored into the earth. Your field, your torus field, has all of these threads of energy, okay? These threads of energy. It's like a system. It's a system. Thank you for the gifts. And the way that you're clearing out to allow in more of your higher self and more of source and more of unconditional love, those roots need to clear. Those roots need to clear. Those roots need to be anchored, grounded, and they need to have the ability to wash and clear. If your root chakra is like blocked up, then anything that comes into your field, let's say it's projections, let's say it's judgments, let's say it's hatred, let's say it's any of those energies, they'll come into the field and they're going to try to find a place to go, okay? They're going to try to find somewhere to go. They're going to try to find a pathway. And if your root isn't anchored and grounded into the earth, then that energy that comes in could get stuck and then start whirling around. Think about gravity. Think about attraction. Think about magnetism, right? If it comes in and it doesn't have a place to filtrate, it might start whirling around one of your chakras. Whirling around one of your chakras. And for most of you here, Where these projection energies are sticking are your third eye, your solar plexus, and some of you, but not as many of you as the third eye and the solar plexus, but some of you it's the throat. So some of you it comes in and then it's like you feel like you can't speak your truth, but what's happening is you're catching other people's energy. Your root chakra isn't grounded to clear it. And then you get this sensation that you aren't allowed to speak your truth. You're not allowed to express. You're not allowed to say, even to these beings, this is something I won't tolerate. So it keeps happening, okay? And then those of you that are new, I'm a channel, so I know it's a little casual seeming, but I am oscillating between many different channeling faculties as we go through the session. So my guides are giving me numbers to get some messages. They're saying trust 7, harmony 8, unified flow 1. Okay. And they're saying 7 is Lemurian, harmony is dragons. I wouldn't have expected the dragons for harmony. Okay. And then the Christ consciousness deck is going to be the unified flow message. Okay. Let's get into the messages from the cards. The cards are very helpful. Here's why. Some of you need to hear this stuff. Some of you need to see this stuff. Some of you need to experience this stuff. So some of you will come in the session and you'll sit in the session and it won't even feel like you're receiving anything. But then you'll go out into your life and you'll have an experience that reminds you of the transmission. And that's when the transmission will anchor. Okay, so we're going to start with the messages. Here's the trust message. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Tree of life. Circle of life, clear energies channel. This is exactly talking about this root chakra scenario I was just explaining. So let's just pretend here for a second that this trunk of the tree is your physical body. Okay? Just envision, imagine, go with me energetically. This is an energy session. Your body is this trunk of this tree, all right? Down here, this is your ancestry. Up here, this is your star connections. So here is your body in this trunk of this tree. Down here is your ancestry. Up here are your star connections. These star connections could be you. In other words, your oversoul channel can emanate through many beings at once. So your oversoul channel could be emanating through some of these star beings and you. Okay? Also, these ancestral lines here, notice how they are all connected. They are all connected. But what we talked about earlier with the trust piece, if you don't know this is all connected, and you think I'm just this trunk, and I don't have roots, and I don't have star connections, and I'm not connected to source, and I'm not connected to the earth plane, the stuff's going to come in, and it's going to find a place to settle in your trunk, aka in your body. Some of you have read the book, The Body Keeps the Score. I have not, but I do agree with that energetic, that if we aren't processing what we're experiencing, it can get stuck in our body and cause things like disease. Okay? So this trust message is reminding you you're allowed to anchor onto the earth plane. And you're safe to anchor onto the earth plane. And you're safe to connect to these star beings. Some of them are going to be guides. Some of them you're going to think are guides, but they're future you. Don't be too concerned about figuring out which of those it is. But if you do feel like you're connecting with star beings or ancestors, this is the question to ask them. Are you of the light? There are laws of the universe. that must be adhered to. And if you ask a being that is coming into your field, are you of the light? If they are, they will immediately give you a yes and you will feel that. If it's a no, they'll run, they'll flee, or they might even like try to, some of them are like more manipulative where they'll kind of like not answer the question, but kind of like convince you that they should stay in your field. But this is what my guides are presenting right now, is that if any of you are connecting with the unseen, and it feels like a guide, it feels like an ancestor, it is important you discern, are they of the light? Is their soul working in the light? Because if they're not, you do not want them in your field. And I never get names either. Okay. What can I say on this? Most of the guides that we're working with that are the higher dimensional guides, they have gone beyond the point of name. So they don't go by a name. They almost think it's silly. They think it's like weird. It's like they think it's all, typically when I'm working with people, they'll ask me like, I think my guide's name is SHWB. Or like they'll just say a name and I'll ask the guide like, is that their name? And they'll just kind of be like, no, but that's what they call me, you know? So names are very earthly. Names don't necessarily apply once we're in the oneness. Okay, think about how silly that would be. You're in oneness and you're caring about, my name is Bree. You don't care about that, okay, when you're immersed with spirit and in the oneness. That's really powerful, Lee. I would keep doing that. That sounds like it's working for you. That's very sufficient. Their sense of humor is top notch. I completely agree. Oh, Heidi. I'm so happy to see you, Heidi. I feel like I miss you. I'm not going to read that comment because it's just silly. Okay, now we're going to go to the harmony message, okay? We're going to go to the harmony message. And Adam, you're this close to a block. Okay, harmony message, dragons, 8. Harmony message. So we're going to let's just start tuning in, dropping in. That's Heidi. That's beautiful. Okay, this is actually, I'm so glad you said this, Heidi. If you ever feel called away from social media, please trust that calling. It's a little interesting thing for someone on social media to say, but I feel like I need to say this. Let me ask my guides. They're saying it's, yeah. So I provide a lot on social media, but I do not consume a lot on social media. My guidance has typically been to not be scrolling too much. Because, especially today, also, can I go into this now? I'm going to touch on this now, but I'm not going to actually go into it. But some of you know about Betelgeuse going supernova. This is part of some of the major shifts we're going to see in 2026. It's going to affect our sun. It's going to affect our system. It's going to affect literally everything in the cosmos. So when a supernova occurs, all of the plasma that is within that star is now disseminated, I'll say, redistributed, I'll say, through the cosmos via plasma. That's all I'm going to say about this right now, because that's like a whole thing, which I will be channeling a message on my YouTube later this week. I've got a lot of channelings I have to bring through because my guides showed me all the things I need to channel on. And each time I channel a message that is that in depth, I need to integrate. In other words, I need to rest. I need to detach from things like my phone, my computer, electromagnetic frequencies. I need to kind of take time off that after I bring through a powerful channeled message. I also brought through a channeled message about Betelgeuse going supernova last year, which I don't even remember. I don't remember doing it, but my guides told me to go listen to it today. So I will be listening to that, and then I'll be bringing in another message on that. Harmony. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, they don't want me to talk about Betelgeuse anymore. We're gonna see it kind of explode in the sky. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting year. Buckle up. Buckle up and have a tool bag with you that you can have fun with, okay? Bring out the tools that are going to be fun for you. I'm not talking about something... I'm going to keep going. Fire and Water Dragon. This is the harmony message. A tool bag, I just mean by tool bag, I want you to have like a pool of resources for yourself that you can go to when you're feeling triggered, when you're feeling like you're starting to match the collective consciousness, when you feel like you're starting to feel the world's agony, the world's pain. I want you to have a set of tools. Maybe that's breath work. Maybe that's crystals. Maybe that's, your cleansing sage, your cleansing Palo Santo, your cleansing incense. Maybe that's frequency music. Maybe that's your channeling abilities. Maybe that's your energy healing abilities. Maybe that's your ability to just sit down with some oracle cards and have some fun with yourself. And just let yourself actually enjoy the moment. With so much worldly chaos going on, it can be very tempting. Sweetie, believe in Christ. I do believe in Christ. But thanks for calling me sweetie and being so rude about it. Do you think Jesus wants you showing up in people's lives like that? Do you think Jesus is like, yes, be mean to them? Do you? Does that feel like Jesus' true guidance? We're going to block this person. Matthew.C408. I will also, Matthew, for you, just for you, I'm going to post this publicly. So everybody thank Matthew before I block him. They know not what they do. Distorted Jesus. We did talk about it earlier, so I'm glad we had an example of it. Did I pull the card yet? I did. Okay. Yeah, we're going to, just so everybody knows, I might not even give a warning anymore. If you come in here and you're spewing nonsense and you're tarnishing Jesus' name by being forceful and aggressive and rude, blocked. Yes, this is a collective reading. So, Fire and Water Dragon. Also, what I want to say about Jesus. Jesus had people around him that were into some really messed up stuff. And guess why he was able to heal those people? He wasn't judging them. Jesus wasn't showing up. He had people, prostitutes. He had people that were into all sorts of things, okay? That everyone else would turn away and say, no way, stay out of here, stay out of my church, stay out of my temple. He accepted everyone. He saw the Christ within everyone. Jesus would never show up to someone and say, find Christ, because Jesus knew there was Christed light within everyone. I just want to lay that down because this is enough with these people that show up and speak in his name in these ways. And their faith healed them, absolutely. And their remembrance of who they truly are healed them. Okay? So Fire and Water enables your life to flow with loving force. Prepare for change and to move forward quickly. Expect the unexpected and have fun. These words are so in alignment with the messages I've been sharing here since I started doing TikTok lives. So this message is really, I really want to read this one. It feels like I need to. Fire and water dragon. I would think they're fourth dimensional, right? Maybe not. Well, it's got to be. Yeah, 36. You like the trees. Yeah, me too. I actually didn't really... Thank you for saying that, Lassen, because I don't think I ever really noticed the trees. What I really like about oracle cards is that each time I pull them, I like notice a different aspect of the art and the imagery and the message. We all need this reminder to have fun, especially in today's current climate. Okay, so orange and green fire and water dragons are fourth dimensional powerhouses. Fire and water together create steam, which is a mighty force that moves us forward towards ascension. Fire energizes us, while the water aspect helps us to flow. The flow may be gentle, but we are more likely to be caught up in a raging torrent. With a fire and water dragon around, we change, and movement is inevitable. These particular dragons can also be very playful. They come to us if we want or need to add excitement and fun to our life. So that is a big intention of our shared space today, is to remind you that your soul also came here to have fun. You know, your soul didn't just come here to be, serving the collective. Your soul knew that coming here meant you were going to light your soul's light up, and that serves the collective. Call on fire and water dragons whenever you face big changes, decisions, or challenges on your pathway. They will push you through times of inertia. We talked about inertia yesterday. Or fatigue by filling you with new expectation and excitement. Soul School is supposed to be joyful. Once you have made up your mind, they will bolster your energy and give you thrust and determination. They also love play and fun and will lighten you up. Pausing. Your guidance now is to be prepared for rapid change in your life. As you are being propelled into a higher state of being. If you make up your mind about the direction you wish to take, these dragons will push you on with grace and surprising ease. If you are not clear, you may find something arises that you hadn't anticipated. So expect the unexpected and enjoy the changes coming to you. Look through the eyes of a fire and water dragon. And see everything from a higher, lighter perspective. And remember that whatever happens will be for your highest good. I'm glad I read that. That was a really important message. And for the sake of time, I'm going to move on to the next message, but we could sit on this dragon for, I don't know, eons. I could hang out with this dragon forever. I love you. Go ahead and tell the dragon you love it if you feel like that's something you are feeling. Okay, now we're going to do the unified flow message, and it's card number 1. Boop. Look who we got. The teacher. Hi, John. The teacher. Walk the talk. This is so important, especially after those people I had to block. Walk the talk. The master. Look at his expression. Look how inviting he is. Look how there's no force about him. Look how in the moment he is. Look how interested this child is. Would this child be so interested if he came and said, "Find Christ. You need to find Jesus, little girl, sweetie"? No, no one would listen to that. They would block them. So let this message remind you of the true love that Jesus had for us, that Yeshua had for us, that Yeshua had for all that is. The respect he has for everyone, no matter what their title is, no matter how the world is judging them. He washed people's feet. He was humble. I'm going to cry. So to every single one of you that have ever had people show up in your reality and tell you, unless you go to this church, unless you believe in this particular paradigm, unless you commit your life to Jesus, unless you that came to you with force, with fear, with judgment, that is not Yeshua. Okay? Thank you for the gifts. That wasn't what Yeshua did. He was a safe space for everyone. Right, Karina? So that is not a representation of this individual. That is a representation of a distorted understanding. He was a way shower. He held the Christ light and he shared it with all. He didn't want to be put on a pedestal. He didn't want to be seen as special or different than everyone else. I have read the Bible many times. There's many parts of it that I can see the distortion in, especially around this particular individual. The Roman Empire did some things. The Roman Empire reshaped that same Bible that they hung him on, okay? I hope you're all hearing me. I know some of you can. And I know some of you can't. He absolutely did not want to be worshipped. We're planting Christ consciousness seeds in this session. Let's take a few deep breaths together. Just feeling this remembrance of the truth of this being. Okay. Oof, that was a big emotional wave. It feels good to remember who he really was and who he really is. Wow. Okay. I'm going to pull one more card just like for my personal self because like that was so emotional. I've already died, but I'm going to block you now. I know where I'm going. I've been there before. I know exactly where I'm going, but I want to be here, okay? I want to be here right now. I know where I'm eventually going to end up. Don't worry, Michelle, I blocked him. But this is a reminder that any of you that have had an NDE, you're going to see through different lenses than people that haven't. And you're going to meet people that can't see what you're seeing, and that's okay. You're also, if you have had an NDE, some of you have and you don't remember it, when distortion is presented to you, you'll know it. So when someone comes up and they're trying to speak in the name of Christianity or Jesus or like whatever they are saying to you, you're going to feel the distortion in their field before they even utter a word. You know, so the people that come into this space, like I can feel when they're there. I can feel when they're trying to mind matter a message that's going to project their fear and their trauma and their religious programming onto you. You'll be able to feel that. My guides are saying even if you haven't had an NDE, most of you will be able to feel that. And you'll start to feel that ick. You'll start to feel like this isn't right. This is not in the name of God. This is not in the name of Jesus. This is a distorted paradigm program that is trying to replicate itself onto another being. You'll be able to feel it. You'll be able to know. And nurture is the final closing card of today's part 2 of Playing with Light. That again will be in my Divine Union Within workshop for February. I'm also probably going to upload this particular message in several other spaces because it was so powerful, and I am not here to gatekeep. I am not here to gatekeep. I need to make enough money to pay for my life. But is my desire to be here as a billionaire? No, my desire is to be here bringing my soul's light and my spiritual gifts. Of course, I still need to eat. I still need to live. I still need to have a roof over my head. That's the only reason that I charge any money anywhere. But I charge very fair prices because I am here to nurture. And I'm here to remind of the truth. That unconditional love is our end-all, be-all truth. It is what we all desire. It is what we all are. It is what our soul is made of. So anytime that we're getting tripped up, tangled up in the distortion, in the fear programming, in the old paradigm, in the templates that have been established by the Roman Empire and then many beings that followed, shadow is every light casts a shadow. Every light casts a shadow. It's perspective when it comes to shadow. How are you seeing your own shadows? How are you seeing another's shadows? Self-healing, Ruby Ray, and birthing the new earth. Thank you, Chad. My ego actually kind of needed to hear that in this moment. If you look to the light too long, will you become blind? I mean, if you're staring at this, don't stare at the sun unless it's sunrise or sunset. But I can say, since I brought up my NDE, the thing that I notice the most about Source is the brightness. It's like intense brightness. It's like intense light. It's almost, and it's for humans, the love that Source has for all of us is so unconditional and so infinite and so immense and so powerful that it can kind of scare our ego. Because our ego is like used to humans. Our ego is kind of used to conditionally loving beings. So when our ego senses the infinite love of Source that Source has for us, it can be a little bit, our ego might have a program to say this is too good to be true. It can be overwhelming. Thank you, Melanie. It can feel a little bit like whoa, I don't know. Like the ego will kind of like, I'm not sure. And unconditional, that's the thing. Source is unconditional, 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 no conditions. Same thing with Jesus. He had unconditional love for everyone. He did not have conditions. He didn't say, you can only come talk to me if you do this, this, and that, and commit your life, and da, 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 da. He said, I love you no matter what. I love you no matter what. I love you on your darkest day. I love you on your brightest day. I love you in your worst mood. I love you in your best mood. I love you when you're bored. I love you when you're unhappy. I love you when you're excited. I love you in every single state of consciousness that you are ever in. I love you. That's unconditional love. My guides are in my consciousness saying, we are complete. So that's it for today. If you wanted to take in this replay, because wow, that was powerful. By the way, I've got like so much sweat. That's typically my barometer, is like I know I've done my job when I'm pouring buckets of sweat in 0-degree weather. So I hope that you all enjoyed this today. My intention is that you sit in this space and you feel like I can be myself. I can be myself. I'm safe to be myself. I'm safe to love myself. I'm safe to love other beings. I'm safe to trust. I'm safe to have faith. I'm safe to feel my pains. I'm safe to feel my pleasures. Okay? I'm safe to feel my masculine energy. I'm safe to feel my feminine energy. I'm safe to have them both completely unified to the point that I shine so bright that I attract people that want to take my light down. I'm safe to shine. I'm safe to be all of me. I hope that you all can walk away from this knowing that you've just taken more of yourself into your being. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Karina. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Gina. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, everyone that has been here for any of this, for sharing your light. Thank you, Kroll, Ketos. I might be saying that wrong, but I love you. And thank you, Jen. So we will be back here on, my guides and I saying we will be back here on Friday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, possibly before. We shall see. But I love you all. And let's take one deep breath together. Don't forget to hydrate. Don't forget to hydrate. Especially those of you that might have sweat, felt shifts, felt energetic shifts in the vessel. Drink a lot of water. You'll support your body to integrate more of you. Okay, ready? Deep breath in. Hold. And release. Namaste, beautiful souls.